What's going on, swim fans? Welcome to Whiteboard Wednesday, and on today's episode, I'm so excited to share with you a 5-step guide on how to make your swimming comeback. Whether you've taken 3 weeks, 3 months, or 3 years off away from the pool or open water, in this video, I'm gonna walk you through that step-by-step guide, a few different considerations to think about so that you can make your swimming comeback as safe and efficient as possible. And by the end of the video, a few different resources and training programs that you can achieve your maximum results. If you're new to the channel, welcome to My Swim Pro, where we share the latest and greatest to help you improve your performance and health both in and out of the water. We truly want swimmers to be as successful as possible. So if you're a swimmer, you're thinking about getting into swimming, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, like this video, and let's get right into it. Now, the first thing we want to understand is why swimmers would take a break in the first place. Some might be obvious, some not so obvious. The first one is obviously after a long competitive swimming career. If you swam through high school age group or college, you can be burned out, and it's totally acceptable and totally okay to take any duration break after that period of hard training. There's also different life considerations that we need to think about. Maybe it's family, maybe you had to move, you had different jobs, you were traveling, you were exploring the world. Whatever reason, you weren't able to get into the pool or open water and get those laps in. Maybe you were pursuing other interests or other forms of fitness. You picked up running, cycling, weightlifting, and you took a sidestep away from the pool. Perhaps you had an injury, you were rehabbing something. Some part of your body was hurt and you were recovering, and that period of time didn't allow you to get in the pool. And potentially something more relevant, in 2020, there's a global pandemic, so maybe you were in quarantine, you weren't able to get into the pool or open water like you would have liked. A few important considerations to keep in mind as you head back into the pool as things start to open up, if that's your current situation. Number one is to check your expectations on day number 1. It's really important if you've taken especially a longer break, anything more than 2 or 3 weeks, to really figure out what your expectations are and not expect to get back in the pool swimming just as fast, just as far as you were when you took that break. So if you were used to swimming 6 days a week, 30,000 meters every single week, holding 1 minute and 20 seconds per 100, it's a little unrealistic to get back into that shape on day 1. However, if you're very consistent, you follow a training program and follow the advice in this video, you're gonna be able to get there pretty fast, but it's not gonna happen on day 1. So the first step is actually to check your expectations at the door. Also, take a long-term approach. Like I said, on day 1, you're not gonna be able to get back into the shape that you were in. If you're going a minute in the 100 breaststroke before the quarantine or before you took a break, you're not gonna go a minute on day 1 or day 2 or week 2 or even month number 2. It might take you a few weeks or months to get back into that shape. So it's really important to think about a long-term perspective when you're considering making your comeback. I also recommend being smart with your goal setting. This is actually one of the steps we're gonna talk about, so a little bit more on that a little bit later. And also make sure you find the right community to support you, whether it's the My Swim Pro global community. Let me know in the comments what your comeback looks like, how long you've been out of the water, how you're gonna make your comeback. Let me know in the comments. Find that community and adjust your mindset and the environment to the adaptations of the world. So maybe you figured you're gonna go swimming, but something changed and your pool shut down and you didn't expect that. So make sure you adjust and you're nimble and you adjust your expectations accordingly. Now the 5 steps, let's get right into it. How to make your swimming comeback. Step number 1 is to get your feet wet. I love it, the pun is definitely needed here. Give a big like if you enjoyed that pun or any of the other puns that we're gonna make in this video. Get your feet wet. I love this quote, do or do not, there is no try. The hardest step is the first step. And that's a quote that's often used in running, training for a marathon, or just kind of getting off the couch and taking those first steps. But really, the hardest stroke is the first stroke you take. So if you just kind of kick the can down the road, and maybe you have no excuses ultimately, but the ones that you're making in your head, it's actually the most important just to get in the water. Go for a swim. Don't worry about how fast you go, how far you go, the frequency. Just get in the water. You're gonna feel so refreshed. Don't try and do any structured workout. Maybe you'll go have a goal of doing 500 meters or 1,000 meters. Maybe it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Do 10 lengths of the pool. Just do 1 length of the pool. Get yourself to the pool, put a swimsuit on, and just get in the water. And that is step number 1, because once you do that, everything sort of snowballs. But that's actually the hardest step, is taking action and making it happen. So again, let me know in the comments, put yourself out there, find an accountability partner, and just get your feet wet. Step number 2, which sort of goes alongside of it, but after you've gotten your feet wet, or you're about to get your feet wet, set SMART goals. Write it in the comments. Let me know what your SMART goal is. And remember, a SMART goal is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So a fluffy goal would be, I'm gonna get back into swimming. I'm gonna make a swimming comeback. Look out, Michael Phelps. I saw you take 2 years off. Here I come. that is a fluffy goal, and that is not what we're talking about when we're saying a SMART goal. So it needs to be specific. What are you gonna do? When are you gonna do it? And how are you gonna do it? It needs to be measurable. You're gonna swim 1,000 meters 2 times per week. It's achievable because you know that you can do that. You're not telling yourself, I'm gonna swim 10,000 meter workouts. And it's relevant to you. It's specific to what you want to achieve, and it's time bound. I'm gonna swim 2,000 meters every other day starting on Monday, June 23rd. And it's really important to set yourself a SMART goal. Again, let it know in the comments. And this goes alongside with getting your feet wet. The reason why this is actually not the first step is because it's really important to just break through and get in the water. If you set too lofty of a SMART goal, it might be difficult for you to get in the water and you'll be really intimidated on day number 1. So really think about setting your goals as you make that comeback into the water. The first step is to get wet. Second step, make your SMART goal. And the third is to follow a training program. This will significantly increase your likelihood of success. This is true not only in swimming, whether it's dryland training or achieving anything in life. You have to have a plan, set your SMART goals, and it'll reduce the stress and anxiety of having to come up with the workout and following a progression. We have trained professionals at MySwimPro that have written outstanding training programs that adapt with the MySwimPro app. And these training programs allow you to reduce that stress and anxiety of having to come up with a program yourself. We know what we're doing. Trust us, follow the training program. It'll increase your likelihood of success by an order of magnitude. Number 4 is to increase your volume and frequency at a proper ratio. And that proper ratio and growth is actually 10 to 20% in volume per week. What I mean by that is once you get into a swimming routine, now this doesn't apply on week number 1, because let's say day number 1, you swim 200 meters and you're used to swimming 2,000 meters. So obviously if we go from 200 meters to 1,000, we just 5x the distance that we're swimming. So once you get into kind of a good routine, 1 or 2 weeks in, you want to figure out how can you increase your volume. And again, the training programs that we wrote in the MySwimPro app, they do this for you automatically. We build the progression for you. And we'll talk about a few different training programs in just a second. But this 10 to 20% is important. And here's an example. Let's say on week number 1, you're swimming 2 to 3 times per week in this schedule, and you're going to do 2,000 meters. So you swam twice, 1,000 meters each session. Week number 2, you're going to increase it from 1,000 meters per session to 1,200 meters per session. So we're going to do 2,400 meters. That's an increase right there. Then we're going to go from week 2 to week 3 up to 3,000 meters. So we're going to break it up from 2 swims a week to 3 swims a week, but we're going to still drop down to 1,000 meters. So we're at 3,000. Week number 4, we're going to increase that volume back up from 1,000 to 1,200 meters per workout. That's a total of 3,600 for week number 4. In week number 5, we're going to ramp it up to 4,000 meters total. And then week number 6, we're up to 5,000 meters. This is probably the fastest progression you want to make. Notice it took us 6 weeks to get up to 5,000 meters of swimming. The biggest challenge that you're going to face if you don't check your expectations and take a long-term approach is you're not going to be successful because you're going to burn yourself out on week number 3 and 4. And your chances of injury actually increase not when you get started, but after you start to fatigue yourself and you get into a routine. So you're more likely to injure yourself not on week 1 or week 2, but on week 5, 6, and 7. So it's really important, even right here is a pretty dramatic acceleration of volume. Think about 10 to 20% per week. And if you're thinking about doing something and you have no idea what to follow, number 1, follow a training plan in the MySwimPro app, but also just drop your expectation of how much volume you're going to do. Focus on quality instead of quantity. And number 5 is to try something new. If you're making a comeback, this is an opportunity to be fresh. Set a different goal. If you were always a breaststroker or a backstroker, try some butterfly. Work on your kicking, improve your technique, lower your distance, lower the number of strokes you take per length, increase your distance per stroke. Work on your technique, and not only the type of workout, so maybe you were really into sprinting and now you want to do endurance, or you're really into distance and now you want to try USRPT because you want to go fast. Whatever it is, try and vary it. It'll make it more interesting from a mental and physical perspective. Now you can also vary your pool swimming, your open water swimming. Try something different there, whether it's short course or long course, your use of equipment. If before you were always used to using fins or paddles, maybe you don't use them. Maybe you add in a new tool to your bucket list. And of course, there's different stroke types. Like I mentioned, if you're a backstroker, maybe it's time to work on your breaststroke. If you've never liked backstroke, time to work on backstroke. Challenge yourself physically and mentally to try something new. Now let's talk about a few different training programs to follow in the MySwimPro app. These are outstanding. Here are 5 right here, but there's a whole number of different programs. Make sure you let us know in the comments which one you're following. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments. The first one is the Beginner Weight Loss Program. It is 8 weeks. It's exactly what it sounds like, beginner weight loss. It's getting started. easier workouts, definitely on the more beginner side. We have a couch to 1K plan. This is great. Think about it. You're sitting on the couch. You've been sitting there for 3 months. You haven't done anything. Maybe you've done a little bit of Dryland exercise. You've gone for walks. Now you're ready to go. Instead of couch to 5K running, we're going to go couch to 1K swimming. So over the course of a 6-week program, you'll go from doing almost nothing to swimming 1 kilometer. We also have the Get Fit program. The Get Fit program is 6 weeks, and that is going from not a lot of swimming, so a few hundred meters, all the way up to doing a 1,500 meter continuous swim at the end of 6 weeks. That's 3 workouts per week. It's a fantastic program. This is actually the most popular program in the MySwimPro app. We've also got 2 different technique boot camps. So if you want to work on your freestyle technique, we have a 2-week beginner program and a 4-week more advanced program. So a little bit more volume if you're a more experienced swimmer coming back, or maybe you're just swimming and you want to add this training program to your existing routine. Fantastic way to improve your technique. And there's also a Getting Started for Beginners program, which is only 2 weeks, and it's really an introductory program to the MySwimPro app. In addition to the swimming programs, we have a number of different Dryland training programs. We actually have 8, and that number is growing. So depending on when you watch this video, check out the MySwimPro app for both swimming programs and Dryland training programs. And this really comes back to the number 3 here in the step, following a plan, because it will increase your likelihood of success because it'll reduce your stress. We know what we're doing. We've built the programs. They dynamically adapt to how fast you're going and what your training regimen is like. And so by doing that, you don't really have to think about it. We're your coach, the MySwimPro community. We will follow you. We will help you lead to success, whatever that looks like for you. A few different resources that can connect you and make you more successful. Definitely want to give a shout out to the MySwimPro Global Community group on Facebook. Go to Facebook and type in MySwimPro Global Community. We'll also link it in the description below. But be sure you check out that group. It's amazing. We have swimmers from almost 100 different countries all over the world, different goals, some triathletes, beginner swimmers, more advanced swimmers, and everyone in between. A great mix, and people are there to support each other. So if you don't want to be active and comment, you can just read the other posts and see what people are doing and learn a lot from that community. Also, make sure you're following and subscribing MySwimPro on social media. So if you're not already subscribed to this video yet, make sure you're subscribed. Follow us on all the different social media channels because we share those different tips and tricks to help you reach your performance and health goals. And of course, the Elite Coach one-on-one coaching experience. So in the MySwimPro app, we have something called Elite Coach. You can access that, of course, with the different training programs that you can follow. But this is an opportunity to talk to a real coach. You might talk to myself or one of the other awesome coaches in the MySwimPro staff, and you can connect with them on a one-on-one basis. We'll help recommend which training program to follow, how to get the most use out of your time, training with the app, whether it's in the pool or in Dryland training. So I highly recommend checking it out. We might even leave a discount code in the description. Not really sure about that. It might be a temporary thing. So if you see a description, if you see a promo code in the description, make sure you check it out and give it a good use. Again, let me know in the comments what your goal is, how you're gonna make your swimming comeback, how long you've been out of the water. And if you have any questions at all, swimming related, let us know. We'll be there to help you along the way. As always, stay safe and happy swimming.